Hey guys, welcome back. So today we are going to be doing a springtime look using the Blood Sugar palette. I haven't used this on my channel probably since it came out, so like a year ago. I figure since March is here, spring's around the corner, I'm sick of winter, I'm ready for it to be over. So I thought I would just go ahead and sit down today and do more of like a springtime look. Maybe something a little bit softer, something a little bit more wearable for a lot of you that are watching. So let's just jump right in and see what we come up with. I'm going to start with the shade Glucose. And basically I'm just gonna set my brow bone with this color. So again, March is here. I'm pretty pumped about it. Spring is right around the corner. I hate winter so fucking much, but honestly, this winter really wasn't bad at all. We had one big snow, we had one big cold, and other than that, it's mostly been like an extended fall. It's pretty good. Then on a dirty R38, this already has the shade Tongue Pop on it from the other day, and this is actually gonna be the main shade that we're using today. This is going to be the transition shade, and it's also just going to be the main saturation of color. I want this to be very simple. I don't want to do a whole lot. I want to stick to 3 colors of eyeshadow max, and hopefully I can actually make myself stick to that. I get a little bit carried away, and before I know it, I've used like 12 colors of eyeshadow, and it really just kind of all looks like one color anyway. And this is one of those palettes where it's kind of pointless to use more than 3 colors because everything reads a lot the same. There's definitely a few different kinds of tones in this palette, but overall it really is like a pinky red color story. And I don't really use this palette all that often. And the shades that I do use are the ones that you would expect me to use anyway. I use the browns, I use the gold. I definitely just kind of use the same colors that I would use out of any other palette. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that coral is like the Pantone color of the year. And I don't ever really do coral at all. I used this shade as a transition the other day and I really liked it. And I really did go back in and cover up with some of the darker reddish purples out of this palette. So this wasn't really the main focus of that look. So I thought I'd go ahead and give this color a chance to be like the main attraction for an eye look. And again, by the end of this tutorial, I'm not really sure that this is going to be a look that I'll be super into myself. And you can't do the same shit every day. You gotta try something new. Who knows? I might end up really liking this look and this could be like a new go-to for me. I don't know. And then taking that same shade on an R39 and just kind of blowing out that lower lash line. I don't know that I really want to take this down too far today. Since I'm trying to do something slightly softer and a little bit more wearable today, I figure I'll just kind of keep this color a little closer to the lash line on the bottom and not blow it out all the way down where it's just filling in my entire eye socket like I normally would do. And if that's something that you're into, go ahead and take it and make it your own. So now on that same R39, I'm going to dip into the shade Intravenous, this is probably my favorite color out of this entire palette. It's just a really nice reddish brown, and I'm going to pop that more into that outer corner here. I'm going to keep most of the concentration of that color just kind of out here in the crease, but on the outer edge. Gonna blend that in. I don't want it to be too dark. I don't want it to be overly smoky. I'm really just kind of laying this color down so that we have a little bit of definition. I feel like today I want to kind of pretend that I'm doing somebody else's makeup, you know, something that somebody else would want and not something that I necessarily want on my face. And then I'm not going to dip back into that color just yet, but just with whatever is left over on the tips of these bristles, I'm just going to kind of blend into the lash line on the outer corner. And again, I'm keeping this darker color really more on the outside. I'm not bringing it in too far, just to give it a little bit of definition on the outer corner. Now, honestly, I don't know how helpful this tutorial will really be as far as using the Blood Sugar palette goes. It's like this palette is a year old and people still can't get their hands on it. I think it's kind of ridiculous. But even if you don't have this palette, if you've got like a coral eyeshadow, a brown eyeshadow, and something a little bit shimmery and a little bit pinky toned, then go ahead and pull those out and play along. And when I'm merging 2 colors together like this, what I also like to do is take that same brush and kind of dip into both shades and create, you know, something right there in the middle. And then kind of stamp it in a little bit, kind of create that in-between shade. And it just kind of makes its own transition shade from your crease color into your transition. It gives it that nice halfway kind of color. Go ahead and do the same thing on this side. And just kind of lightly blur into the lower lash line on both sides. So then I am going to take just a little bit more of that cocktail of Tongue Pop and Intravenous, just kind of mixing the two of them back and forth on my brush, and then just bringing it in a little bit further onto the lid and still keeping it more on that outer corner, but just kind of bringing it onto the actual lid a little bit further on that outside edge, because I'm going to put a shimmer on the lid, but I like to keep shimmery tones more on like the inner 2/3. I like to keep the outer third of the lid more matte. God, I can't believe we're almost done here. This is the quickest tutorial I've ever done in my fucking life. And you guys should know the drill by now with shimmers. I'm gonna go in with the NYX glitter primer and I'm gonna apply that to the lid before I put on a shimmery tone. I just find that it helps intensify the shadow even more than spraying your brush with a setting spray, because I feel like it just doesn't really change the texture of the shadow the way that a setting spray just kind of changes the texture overall. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. And then using my finger, I'm gonna rub into Sweetener, and I'm gonna take that shade and I'm just gonna press that right over top of the glitter primer. And once it's really on there and really in place, then I'll wipe off the brush that I laid the glitter primer down with, and I will dip into that same shade, and I will just kind of hit the edges where I laid down the primer, because your finger is just never gonna give you that precision that a brush is gonna give you on the edge there. But then the brush is never gonna give you the concentration of color the way that your finger is going to. But using both your finger and the brush, they really do work together. And then again with Sweetener, just pressing it on to that sticky base. And again, a brush in this inner corner especially really helps because I have deep set eyes, so my fingers do not want to go into that area. All I would do is kind of spread things around too much and make too much of a mess in there. So a brush is really handy in that area. So then for my inner corner and probably my brow bone too, I'm gonna take this highlighter by Wet n Wild. This is in the shade Blossom Glow. I'm not really sure which collection this was from, to tell you the truth, but it's a really soft, kind of subtle pinky toned highlight. And it's really flattering on my skin tone as far as a highlight goes. I've been wearing it a lot lately and I really like it. But I figured this would go along nicely with the colors of eyeshadows that I was using today. And typically I'll lay down the glitter primer on the inner corner as well to really make that highlight pop. But since I really wanted this to be a little bit more of a soft, subtle kind of smoky eye, something a little bit more springtime and a little bit more pretty today, I didn't want it to be too garish and in your face. So I thought I'd go ahead and skip the glitter primer just for today. And then on this little flat brush, I'm gonna go ahead and take that same highlighter and just kind of pop that right underneath the brow. And I might as well go ahead and use that same shade to highlight the rest of the face. Now what I like to do is I like to take this Y14 and lay down like a base shade of highlight. And I'm just gonna be sure to avoid this crease in the center of my forehead where my Botox has totally worn off at this point. And then I like to take my highlighter on a Morphe M504 because it's just a smaller, denser brush and it just really gives you a nice pinpoint highlight right on the very tops of the cheekbones, tip of the nose, and really just anywhere where you want your highlight to be a little bit more concentrated. And then to bring some of the warmth from my eyes down onto my cheeks, I'm actually gonna use Spring Sheen by MAC. I'm gonna take that on a Morphe M500. And I don't really know how much this blush and this highlighter really go together, but I'm gonna go ahead and plop it on there anyway. I think it actually works pretty well with that highlight. I mean, they're two completely different kinds of tones. The highlight is definitely more of that icy pink kind of reflect, and the blush is more of that like warm pink with like a golden or an orange kind of shift to it. So honestly, I think that's enough color. I can't really imagine that this needs any more than what it already has going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this MAC NC15 NW20 Studio Chromographic Pencil. We need to simplify the names of products. 3 words max. I'm gonna pop a nude pencil on the waterline, get some mascara on, and then we'll go ahead and call this a day. Okay, so liner and lashes are done. I went ahead and added another coat of lip gloss. This is one of the Buxom, which one is this? This is the Buxom Full-On Lip Cream in the shade Rose Julep. You guys know that I love the Buxom products, and I really like this color. It's pink toned, it kind of goes with everything else that I'm wearing today. Now, am I in love with this look? No, this isn't really my style of makeup, but today's makeup tutorial wasn't really about me. It was about hopefully giving you some inspiration to create some springtime looks. I think the one thing that I kind of like a little bit is the blush. Again, this is the Spring Sheen blush by MAC. I don't know how flattering it is on skin that's a little bit more textured. I've got really enlarged pores. I've got this pockmark situation over here, but with a little bit of filler in those, I don't know. I feel like this could be a wearable blush for me. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. But be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like this makeup look, and tag me on Instagram if you end up recreating it. Be sure to tell all your friends about it so they know to watch, and I'll see you guys on the next one.